Welcome back. We have now spoken about Ice Cube framework and the Get Set Go approach about how to build the perfect onboarding journeys. But all of this might actually be useful if the person actually stays. What happens if the people leave before you are done with the onboarding? Let us talk today about infant attrition. Infant attrition. It sounds like a very soft HR term, like something you would put in a pastel-colored PowerPoint. But what it really means is this. Someone joined. You paid to hire them. You onboarded them. You gave them a laptop, a welcome kit, maybe even a mug. But then, before the mug has even been washed properly, they leave. That is infant attrition. The employee exits early, usually within the first 90 days, and the organization reacts with shock. How did this happen? We had such a good onboarding plan. They attended everything. They completed all the modules. Yes, and that is exactly the problem. They got into work well and they completed onboarding. But they may not have completed belief. They may not have completed confidence. They may not have completed alignment. Because attrition does not begin when the resignation email finally arrives. That is just the paperwork. The real decision often starts much, much earlier. Maybe somewhere around day 15, day 20, or day 30. When the new joiner quietly realizes, hey, this is not the job I thought I joined. And that is where the bias framework comes in. Not bias as in unfairness. Bias as in behavior, interactions, aspirations, and skill set. 4 places where expectations can quietly break. And if we do not catch those breaks early, HR gets a resignation email. The manager gets angry. Recruitment gets blamed. Maybe the person was bad. And everyone schedules a meeting called root cause analysis, which, as we all know, is corporate lingo for we should have noticed this much, much earlier. So let's start with the uncomfortable truth. Early attrition is often not a joining problem. It is not even a training problem. It is an expectation mismatch. The employee joins with one job in their head. Their experience is of another job in real life. During hiring, the role sounds exciting, strategic, growth-oriented, dynamic, fast-paced, which is corporate code for you will be busy, maybe confused, but somehow always responsible. The candidate imagines impact, ownership, learning, visibility. Then they join. And the real job says, here is your tracker, here is your process, here is your target, without him being prepared for it. Here is your manager. Please do not ask too many questions before Friday. And suddenly, there is a gap. Not always a huge gap. Sometimes it's a small, tiny space. But small gaps become large doubts. And large doubts become exist intent. Bias helps us find exactly where that gap is going to be. Behavior. What do they actually have to do every day? Interactions. How are they going to be treated, supported, corrected, and managed? Aspirations. What do they believe they will get if they succeed? And finally, skill set. What do they need to be good at to survive and succeed? This is useful because not a good fit is not a diagnosis. It is a shrug wearing formal shoes. Bias gives us a better question. Not, was this person a fit? But, where exactly did the fit break? Now, Most onboarding programs are not bad. They are just very confident about the wrong thing. They say, we have covered everything. Company history, founder story, values, policies, products, processes, a whole lot of P's. The CRM, that has to be filled. Compliance, code of conduct, travel policy, leave policy, that is a material one, the password policy. There might even be a policy. By the end of week 1, the new hire knows where to find the anti-bribery module, but still does not know what good performance looks like on the coming Tuesday. That is the issue. Traditional onboarding answers administrative questions. Bias answers survival questions. The learner is actually thinking, what will I do every day? Will my manager help me or judge me? What happens if I make mistakes? How fast am I expected to perform? Is this role actually taking me where I want to go? Am I already behind? Can I succeed here? These are not small questions. These are stay or leave questions. But most onboarding dashboards do not track them. They track completion, which is useful, but completion is not conviction. Completion is not confidence. Completion, as we have discussed before, is not readiness. Completion just means the learner clicked next enough number of times. And honestly, by that standard, half of us are experts in software licensing agreements for sure. So let me explain bias step by step. The first step is profiling. Right? This is the first step in the bias approach. By profiling, we do not mean the creepy kind, not what kind of learner are you, where you do a quiz and we say that you're a dolphin. We do real profiling, useful profiling. Before the person gets lost in the system, we ask, what do you think this job will be like? What do you think your day will involve? How much support do you expect? How do you prefer to receive feedback? What does success in the role mean to you? What are you hoping this role leads to? Which parts of the job actually worry you, and what do you already feel confident about? What do you not feel ready for? These questions matter because everyone says they're excited on day 1. Nobody joins and says, actually, I'm deeply uncertain and already suspicious. Although that would make HR induction much more interesting. So we need structured questions and we need an organizational yardstick. The manager and the learning team must define the real role expectations. What behavior is needed? What interactions are normal? What aspirations are honestly realistic? What skill set is required for this role? Then we compare. Employee expectation on one side, organization expectation on the other. Where they match, good, there's alignment. Where they do not match, that is risk. That is the bias gap. And that gap is where infant attrition begins. Now, once we know the gaps, we need to act on them. This is where archetyping comes in. Because new joiner is not a useful category. That is like saying a person with email. It tells you almost nothing. Some new joiners are confident, some are anxious, some are experienced but still new to your company. Some are new altogether to the industry itself. Some are ambitious, some are overwhelmed, some are already wondering if this was a mistake, and some are just trying to find the cafeteria without looking helpless. Bias helps group learners into actionable archetypes. Let me give you an example. Aligned. They understand the role. Their expectations are mostly realistic. Great. Do not overcomplicate their learning journey. Somebody who's sensitive. They may struggle with feedback, manager tone, or interpersonal signals. Do not throw them into chaos and then call it culture. Ambitious. They are driven, but they may expect growth faster than the role can actually offer. That needs expectation setting, not motivational posters. Disruptive. They may resist the expected behavior. That needs early correction, not silent resentment that builds up with the manager. Disconnected. They do not see the link between the role and what they want. That needs meaning, not other PDF. And then we add in the skill level. Performer, rookie, or novice. Because a sensitive performer and a sensitive novice are not the same person. One may need emotional reassurance. The other may need reassurance plus basic skill support. This is the shift. We stop saying, here is the onboarding program, and start saying, here is the journey this person actually needs. Before we go forward, let us talk about the managers, the magical creatures expected to hit targets, run teams, attend reviews, solve escalations, coach people, approve leave, give feedback, and through all this maintain culture. And somehow also remember that new person joined last Monday. Managers matter a lot. But managers are busy, and without guidance, they support new hires based on instinct, which is a nice word for guessing with confidence. Bias intends to give managers targeted guidance, not a 40-page psychological report. Honestly, nobody wants that, especially not the manager. They need simple, useful signals. This learner is high risk. This learner needs feedback carefully. This learner needs expectation setting. This learner needs to practice his skills. This learner should be given early recognition. This learner may actually disengage quietly. That changes the manager conversation itself. Instead of, how is the onboarding going? Which will always get the answer, good. The manager can instead ask, what part of this role feels different from what you expected? What support do you need this week? Which task still feels unclear to you? Are you seeing how this role connects to your goals? That is a different conversation. That is not checking in. That is actually aligning the team to what the manager wants. And alignment is where attrition prevention actually begins. Now let's get back to the learner. The next step is the learning journey. This is where many onboarding programs make a bold choice. They start with company history. Because apparently, before a person can do their job well, they must know what happened in 1987. Look, context matters. Culture matters. The founder story may even matter. But if someone is already confused about the role, the manager, the target, the field reality, or the customer pressure, a heritage video will not save them. Bias changes the sequence. First, address expectation gaps. Then, build on the skill gaps. Then move into the standard induction. How we do it, we have covered in the previous episodes. The order matters. If the person expected a desk job but the role is field heavy, say it early. If the person expected coaching but the role needs independence, say it early. If the person expected fast promotion but the role needs process mastery first, say it early. If the person lacks basic skills, do not wait until they fall behind in front of a customer, support them early. Because surprise is dangerous in the first month. The sentence you never want to hear is nobody told me this. That sentence is basically a resignation letter in casual clothing. A better sentence is, this is harder than I expected, but I understand it. And I know what support I have. That is what a good bias-led journey creates. Not comfort, clarity. Not pampering, preparedness. Not blind optimism, informed commitment. And now we come to analytics, which is where corporate teams often get very excited because finally there is a dashboard. And dashboards make everything feel under control, even when the dashboard is just saying people clicked things. Bias needs better analytics, not just attendance, not just completion, not just module done. We need to know, are they actually participating? Are they completing with intent when they are supposed to do it? Are they understanding anything? Are they improving? Or are they drifting? Are they responding to support? And are they still aligned? The bias approach tracks compliance, completion, and comprehension. Let me break this down. Compliance tells us, did they do what was required when it was required? Completion tells us, did they actually move logically through the journey? Comprehension tells us, did they understand any of that stuff? Already, this is better than the usual system. Because a person can complete everything and understand very little. We all know this. We have all completed mandatory trainings. Some of us have completed it while eating lunch. Some of us have completed it with the sound off. Some of us are completing one right now in another tab. Completion is not enough. When we combine participation and effectiveness, we get patterns. Some learners are diligent. Some are stuck. Some are lagging. Some are busy but not absorbing. Some are completing but not becoming ready. That is what analytics should actually reveal. Not just who finished, but who is at risk, why, and what should we do next? Now with analytics out of the way, we can do something interesting. Red flagging. This is the part where the system stops waiting politely for disaster, because infant attrition does not always announce itself. The new hire doesn't always say, "Hello HR, just writing to inform you that my psychological contract is weakening." They just disengage, quietly. They miss a module, then another. The scores might dip. The responses get shorter. They stop asking questions, they stop volunteering, they attend but disappear mentally. And then everyone says, they seemed fine. Of course they seemed fine. Most people actually seem fine at work. That is the entire operating model. Bias red flagging looks for early signals. Let's say participation drops. Completion slows. Completion is high but compliance is low. Comprehension weakens. Manager feedback changes. Intervention response is poor. The program index overall dips. A red flag is triggered. And then the system acts. Not to punish, but to support. The goal is not surveillance. It's not Big Brother watching. The goal is actually rescue. If someone is drifting because of a behavior mismatch, clarify the role. If they're drifting because of an interaction mismatch, fix the support, engage the manager. If they're drifting because of aspirational mismatch, reset the path, set their expectations right. If they're drifting because of skill gaps, give remedial help. The earlier we see the signal, the better chance we have to fix it. Exit interviews are too late. That is just archaeology. Bias is not archaeology. Bias is an early warning system. So we have got the red flags. What do we do about it? Let's talk about interventions, because this is where organizations often do something really terrible and completely generic. The learner is disengaged, so we send a reminder. A learner is confused, so we send a reminder. A learner is anxious. What do we send? A reminder. A learner is ambitious but frustrated. Reminder. A learner lacks skills. Reminder. At some point, the reminder is not an intervention. It is a cry for help from the LMS. Bias says, match the intervention to the mismatch. If there's a behavior gap, show them the real work. Use job aids. Clarify daily expectations, maybe a day in the life of kind of a thing. Give examples of what good actually looks like. If there's an interaction gap, add manager check-ins. Assign a buddy. Coach the manager to do better. Create safer feedback moments. If there's an aspiration gap, clarify the growth paths. Show them where it goes. Show milestones. Set realistic success timelines. Connect effort to opportunity. If there's a skill set gap, give remedial modules, practice tasks, micro assessments, manager observation, coaching maybe. Do not motivate a skill gap. Do not quiz an aspiration gap. Do not send a PDF to solve a manager relationship issue. That is where interventions actually fail. The intervention must speak to the real issue. This is what bias aims to make possible. So now let's bring it all together. Here is the full picture. Infant attrition is not always sudden. It is often built quietly, one mismatch at a time. The job is different from what they expected. The manager relationship is different from what they needed. The growth path is different from what they imagined in their head. The skill demand is higher than what they were ready for. Bias helps us catch this early. Profile the learner, map the expectation gaps, assign the archetype, align the manager, coach him if required, personalize the journey, track behavior, flag any possible red flags, intervene properly to respond to that, and then, with whatever you have learned, improve the next cohort. That is the system. Not more onboarding content, not more calendar invites, not another welcome video where everyone says they are excited about the journey ahead. A real expectation alignment system. Because people do not leave early only because they were not trained. Very often they leave because reality surprised them. And surprise is expensive. So if you are seeing infant attrition, do not start with why are people leaving. Start with where did expectations stop matching reality. That is where bias begins. And that is where early attrition can be reduced. Before that resignation email, before that exit interview, before that root cause modeling. Because somebody has said, we really should have seen this coming. Because yes, you really should have. And with bias, you can. So thanks a lot for your time. We have now covered Ice Cube, which tells you how to design your onboarding program. We have covered GetSetCo, which tells you how to actually implement it in real life. And we have now covered bias, where we are talking about how to actually use it to reduce infant attrition. All three videos are available on our channel, along with the toolkits and everything else that you need to actually implement this. If you need any conversation, we are always very, very happy to engage. Please leave it in the comments or reach out to us. We will always be there for you. Here's hoping we have a nice next version whenever we come up with it, and we will connect with you back then. Thanks a lot. Oh, and I forgot to mention, please like, share and subscribe. It'll really help us. Thank you.